Islam, the backbiting can be permissible in a very few particular circumstances, like if a person who has been wrong can present a formal complaint to some officer, so that with their help a wrong may be you can say righted and justice be restored. And secondly, sometime if a person he plan to cooperation or you can say marriage with another, it comes to hold you can say counsel with you, and you say to them without getting involved and purely for the sake of their benefit, and in order to counsel them properly without any further motive, do not do that business. Do not do that business with that person. It will be, you can say, your disadvantage, or means that you discourage him to do that contract with him. So this is only when you give advice without having any further motive. And thirdly, if the person being criticized in an open and unashamed sinner, that is, you can say, far from being ashamed of it, they take pride in the sins they commit. If they take pleasure in their wrongdoings and commit sins openly, so in that case you can backbite him in order to you can say right their wrong. In these particular cases, you can say the backbiting may be permissible. So provided it is done disinterestedly and purely for the sake of truth and in the collective interest. Otherwise, backbiting is like a fire that consumes good deeds in the manner of flame eating up wood. If one has engaged in backbiting or you can say listen to it willingly, one should seek God's forgiveness, saying, "O Allah, O God, forgive me and the one whom I backbite." And when he meets the person about whom they spoke ill, they should say to him, "Forgive me." There was a man who had 4 sons. He wanted his sons to learn not to judge things too quickly. So he sent them each on a mission. In return, to go and look at a pear tree which was a great distance away. The first son went in the winter, the second he went in spring, the third one he went in summer, and the youngest one you can say he went in the fall. So when they had all gone and come back, so he called them together to describe what they had seen. The first son said that the tree was ugly, bent and twisted. The second son said, "No, it was covered with green birds and full of promise." The third son, he disagreed. He said it was, you can say, overloaded with blooms that smelled so sweet and looked so beautiful, and it was the most graceful thing he had you can say ever seen. The last son, he disagreed with all of them. He said it was full grown and dropping with fruit, full of life and you can say fulfillment. So the man, he then explained to his son that they were all right, because they had each seen but only one season in the tree's life. He told them that you cannot judge a tree or a person by only one season, and that the essence of who they are and the pleasure, the joy and love that come from that life can only be measured at the end, when all the seasons are up. If you give up when it is winter, you will miss the promise of your spring, the beauty of your summer, the fulfillment of your fall, So don't let the pain of one season destroy the joy of all the rest. Don't judge life by one difficult season. Reserve to the difficult, you can say, patches, and better times are sure to come, you can say, sometime or later. The same way, a man may be involved in sin sometimes, but he may be pious. He be very practicing Muslim, but due to weakness, being humankind, they may commit a sin. So you should not spoil their lives by backbiting, slandering, or exposing them in the way that they are very sinful or have never done any good act in their lives.